Hello, good evening, and welcome to this run through of the Berlin Trip 2026. If you are not able to join us on the evening on the Wednesday at 5 p.m. So I'll just go through the key points now. Obviously, while we're going, it's fundamental to the course, both on Weimar and Nazi Germany and, of course, the Cold War. And that'll be reflected in the sites that we see. The trip itself will take place, obviously, as you know, between the 5th and the 8th of February. And there are 5 members of staff going. However, folks, this is the punchline. Please make sure you're aware of those drop-off times, and you'll be flicking coins now to see who drops off each pupil, no doubt. Your son or daughter needs to be in the school at 3 a.m. That's just before 3 a.m., please. That is the time that the coach is leaving. So students need to get a tab before 3 a.m. to board the coach to go on our merry way, and we will wend our way up the A3 to Heathrow for a 7:10 flight to maximise our time there. And again, if you're considering, pickup times, just look at the pickup time there. A really late one there back, and that's of course without delays. At the minute it's 11:30 on the Sunday. More information to follow about that, of course, including when students are expected back to school on the following Monday. We'll be staying in the Meininger Hotel, right in the middle of Berlin, for obviously the 3 nights, 4 days. Here's a little snapshot of the rooms. They're rather plush, don't they? Not from the hostel accommodation that I may have been used to at their age. It's all rather pleasant. Here are the 5 members of staff that are, of course, going, and we will assign the groups thus far moving forward. Day 1, of course, we'll be looking at arriving, hopefully, fingers crossed, without delay, and proceeding to the hotel. And although rooms might not be ready until 3 o'clock, we're going for a little walk around, get some lunch spot to eat, that sort of thing, and start our walking tour, where I will lead a look at potentially the Holocaust Memorial, the book burning site from 1933, potentially the bunker site where Hitler decided to meet his mortal end, and the Brandenburg Gate, and of course the canal where Rosa Luxemburg ended up, shall we say. Day 2 starts off again, packed lunches. It's a packed day, folks. It's Stasi prison. It's then Stasi prison stroke Sachsenhausen concentration camp, and then back for the Reichstag in the afternoon, potentially with a sideways look into the topography of terror, which I'm hoping will be confirmed by the tour operator shortly. We're really looking forward to that one, to look at the machinations and the whole apparatus of the Nazi regime and how it worked. We'll have a quick look at the Berlin Wall on the East Side Gallery, and then back for some food on public transport. Day 3, again we're looking there at the coach to Sachsenhausen and the Olympic Stadium, and then we're moving on to looking at potentially a little tour around the main Alexanderplatz, and then back to enjoy a 2-course meal at the Moredo restaurant. Just to note about Sachsenhausen as a concentration camp, we're told, of course, not to do any lectures or anything on the main gates. So we need to keep moving, really, keep going through. People can't be dawdling, and we have to send in some places, some of the barracks in some groups one at a time. Tells us which way to walk through, Obviously we need to ask, and we'll bring this up in the code of conduct, students to follow the pass and those sorts of things, because pupils need to make sure that they're being obviously very respectful, as I know they would be, at such an important cultural site as that. Well, what do you need to bring? Well, okay, well, I'd go for a passport and your health card if you got one. Obviously, we'll be supplying a trip booklet and an emergency contact card, which will be issued on the day of departure with some key mobile numbers on it. In terms of the other things that you'll need a packed lunch for the day of outward travel. Something like that for the coach, and then as well as that, a small amount of money. Suggested is really about €50, guys, no more really than that. Obviously, a phone and a charger would be quite handy. Warm clothes. It is cold in Berlin, really cold, so boots, thermal layers, undergarments, hats, gloves, and waterproof coat and shoes would be quite useful. Toiletries, pyjamas, all those sorts of things will be required. You get a large carry-on luggage allowance with British Airways. So I would recommend a rucksack for the flight bag, as long as it fits to the specifications, the size of the bag, and those sorts of things that you'll need, as well as your suitcase. Of course, all we get out there is it's fully inclusive, all the food. So the only thing that pupils need to bring with them is a little bit of extra money for the first lunch, which, as we can't book into the hotel before 3, we will need to source that around Alexanderplatz, somewhere like that on the first day. So that's why the €50, maybe plus a little bit more for lunch, would come in very much handy. And just making sure that people are, of course, aware, and if you could impress upon this to your sons or daughters, that it is a city. It is the capital city, obviously. So with all capital cities, there are loads of tourist merchandise, there are loads of rubbish, and there's also the point of making sure that wallets aren't on display, they're in pockets. We don't want an episode of pickpocketing or something like that. So students need to be always staying with the group, that sort of thing, to make sure we don't have any problems there. Last time someone managed to leave the whole of their bag on the coach, wondering where his bag was, to find out his 150 or so euros was brought back by the coach driver the following day. So I don't want to create a load of fear and that sort of thing. There are some very honest people out there, but we do need to be looking after ourselves and being sensible in European capitals. The weather is cold at the minute, and it's colder than it is here by about 10 degrees. So again, I just want to reinforce the message about warm, decent clothing, a decent coat with a decent hood, and a hat. There's the baggage allowance, which I'll leave you to look at there. Cabin bags, reasonable size, up to 23 kilograms, and 23 kilograms in the hold luggage as well. As you can see, it's generous, more than we require, really. Code of conduct wise, well, in Berlin, all pupils will be representatives of our school. They will need to follow the school rules at all times, and additional rules are there to keep everyone safe. We need to make sure that all instructions are followed and everyone sticks to their muster group as we go through. Guides and other supporting adults are all of the things that people are asking them to do are followed without delay. This includes punctuality for programmed activities, getting up at the right time, going to bed at the right time as well, and making sure we respect the coach, making sure there's no litter dropped, and we respect public places. We have to also follow, of course, UK law here. So this really means that there is no question about any consumption of alcohol for anyone that's over the age of 16. We are not allowed to go out vaping. We are not allowed to go out smoking, any of that sort of nonsense. And of course, if anything does happen, appropriate sanctions will be applied when we return to school, and we're obviously discussing those as soon as it's convenient to discuss with each parent. So we're all representatives of the school, so we need to respond and make sure we do that. That element of responsibility to make sure we are all have a very successful trip. If there are any other medical information or updates, please do see me or complete a new form. And of course, in terms of emergency procedures and who to contact on the day of the trip, information will go out to you to explain how that information will get to you if in case there is an emergency on the trip. We're hoping, of course, there won't be one, but we will explain there how we will get that information to you. Medical information has all gone out. Thank you very much for filling that back in. That's all gone off to the tour operator, that sort of thing. Pupils need to, of course, take all their medication with them, including inhalers, making sure this is checked in with the key member of staff, Mrs. Howell, on the trip, is looking after all things medical. Can I ask that all medical information, medical medication, anything like that is dropped off at the school for the trip by Friday the 23rd of January to double check that we just have everything. And just a reminder that if there are any new medical conditions, please pick up a new form as you leave today and fill it in as soon as possible. For those that have not yet completed the European Health Card, it is a recommendation, it is not compulsory. However, it seems to me sensible to be carrying those with our passports, please. So if you haven't, it only takes 15 working days. I've already emailed you out information about how you cover and apply for those, the GHIC card itself. So if there are any questions, please do email me, j.webb@porchester.hants.sch.uk. But if not, I look to see you bright and early at about 2:55 in the morning on the day of our departure, on the 5th of February. Thanks ever so much. Bye.